What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about the Wonder Woman game coming from Monolith Productions. This was quite the shocker. This was arguably, and I do think it was, the biggest surprise of the Game Awards. It was also probably top 3 biggest things we saw at the Game Awards, and there's only a couple things we know about this game so far, so I kind of want to go through it, talk about it a little bit, talk about my impressions of it, and what I think the game can be, because they give us an okay hint, but obviously we don't know too much. But we got the trailer. Wonder Woman herself, I mean, she looked absolutely awesome. Obviously, Monolith are the makers of the Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War games, 2 very, in my opinion at least, very good games. I think War kind of took some steps back in some ways and took some steps forward in other ways, but the biggest stuff we really got on this game was through a press release. Now, I don't even think this is from them. I think this is somebody who wrote about it, but they have information, they know the bits and pieces of what this game is going to be. And they say, in development by Monolith Productions, creators of the critically acclaimed Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War, this open-world action-adventure game will feature the beloved DC superhero Wonder Woman. The single-player open-world action game will introduce an original story set in the DC universe and allow players to become Diana of Themyscira in the fight to unite her Amazon family and the humans from the modern world. Powered by the Nemesis system, gamers will forge deep connections with both enemies and allies as they progress from a heroic fighter into a proven leader. Now, that's the big stuff to me, right? Now, number one, I'm very happy to see this happen. It actually does kind of suck in a way that we don't get the third game, the ending of the trilogy of the Middle-earth games, right? And maybe they were working on it, and maybe they weren't, and that is something I want to talk about, as this video goes on. While that sucks, though, we've talked about DC needing to diversify their games and just literally have more than 2 coming out at any given time. Marvel, love them or hate them, or you love the individual games or hate the individual games, they are trying so many different things with so many different developers, and a lot of them are working out. And it's not necessarily a war between them, but if DC wants to compete, I think at a high scale, they need to have more than just WB Montreal that makes a game every 10 years, and Rocksteady, who also makes a game every 6 or 7 years. They need to have more than just those 2 studios working on it. Now, again, I don't necessarily like games being shelved in the Middle-earth games to make a superhero game in its place, but you have to do what you have to do. Wonder Woman has been my go-to. People ask me, Alex, what superhero game do you want from DC or Marvel? The first one I say is a Wonder Woman single-player game. That's been my thing, right? I do want a Teen Titans, Teen Titans or X-Men kind of cooperative game. That's definitely high up there. But in terms of single-player experience, Wonder Woman has always been the top of my list. So I am very, very happy that we are getting this. Yes, does it suck we're getting this and no signs of a Superman game? Yeah, and that's that's an argument for another time. But I want to focus in on 2 different things, right? The trailer doesn't make it known if it's open world or not. So by them saying, single player open world game, that's definitely, now known. That's a fact, and that's a very good thing, right? I honestly, we don't really have, I mean, I think, honestly, the open world of the Wonder Woman games, I was going to bring in, the Arkham games, it would probably be bigger, I'd imagine, than what we are used to with our, superhero open world games, maybe even bigger than, a Spider-Man. The biggest thing to me is the thing that obviously I go to sleep at night and I pray for every single night, is that the Nemesis system, for the love of God, comes back. Now, for some reason, there's not a lot of people that know what the Nemesis system is, which is kind of alarming. The Nemesis system was a system designed by them in which basically enemies have personality. That's boiled down as basic as it gets. These enemies will remember you, they will fight each other, they will gain a personality of their own, they are different from each other, they will surpass each other in terms of ranking, and it matters. And obviously in the Middle-earth games, if they kill you, you come back to life. Obviously, the game keeps going, but the enemies continue to grow. If a low-level grunt, let's say, kills you, so let's say Wonder Woman, a low-level enemy kills you, they get a huge amount of boost from doing that, from taking down, because you're not really dead, right? You just kind of come back, and that would, I would assume, be the same thing here. And they would rise, though. They would become more powerful. So your standard enemy, if you let them get too powerful, or the game, as in general, will do this to these characters, they may become one of the strongest characters in the game. So that's the Nemesis system. Now, what's actually kind of interesting about this is they say connections with both enemies and allies as you go. So it is an open world game. You would expect a good amount of like conversations and world building and character building. But what would be interesting too is, and because they literally say, right, you're uniting your Amazon family and the humans, I almost wonder, and I think it's basically confirmed here, the Nemesis system has basically grown where it's not just going to be enemies, it'll also be allies. That's what I get from it as well. So your own, female Amazon warriors, again, there may be high level ones, but maybe they get killed. Maybe one of the bad guys kills one of them mid-game, and they're gone. Like, you will never see them again. Somebody else has to take their place, or vice versa. And then again, maybe one of your low-level allies beats a high-level enemy with you, and then they gain power because of that. I mean, the potential is honestly incredible, and now that I'm saying it out loud, it's exactly, like, this is how you would probably do it, I would imagine, for a superhero game. I think, honestly, Wonder Woman makes a lot of sense because you do have enemies, but you also have literally an Amazon army, which works really well to expand the Nemesis system. So that's pretty much all we know. I want to throw in one final thing, though, is the release and all that stuff. Now, there's no indication that anything has ever been canceled from them. Maybe there has, right? But the thing is, the last Middle-earth game, Shadow of War, came out in September of 2017. I honestly cannot believe it's been 4 years. It doesn't feel like it, but it's been 4 years since their last game. A lot of people are, I think the first time when you see this, you're thinking, 3-4 years away? Really? No. I mean, I don't think it comes out next year. I think the simple reason why would be, well, you got Gotham Knights, you got Suicide Squad, and those are your DC games. But you also have Lego Star Wars and Hogwarts Legacy and all that stuff. But even DC, I mean, you are packed with games. You got 2, you don't really need 3. So I would imagine this is a 2023 game. And honestly and arguably, it could be an early 2023 game. Because if there hasn't been anything internally that went wrong, they've been working on this game for around 4, maybe a little less, 3.5 to 4 years they've been working on it, which is an incredible amount of time, and I don't think you need more than 5, and so that would be like late next year, early 2023. So I honestly don't think we're all that far away from seeing this. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure you're subscribed. I'm going to cover a couple other things that interested me, at the Game Awards, as the day goes on, or as tomorrow goes on, I should say. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all on the next video.